Good evening. It's 6 o'clock, and today is the 28th of August. Hard to believe that we're staring at September. And we're going to call to order our official business meeting of the Scott County Fiscal Court. Would ask that you consider join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Hamilton, will you call the roll?
Mr. Hostetler?
Present.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Wallace?
Here.
Mr. Corman?
Present.
Mr. Ellison?
Here.
Mr. Pratt?
Here.
Mr. Livingston?
Here.
Mr. Culbertson?
Here.
Judge Kepler?
Present. With that said, we have a quorum and can conduct business, take action. We will move forward with consideration of the minutes from 7:24 and 8:18 together. Any questions or comments on those minutes as presented? Motion, Mr. Jones, second from Mr. Livingston. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next would be the transfers as shared from Michelle Ray. Any questions or comments related to those transfers as presented? Motion. Second from Dwayne Ellison. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. And then bills and hand checks as presented by our treasurer, Michelle Ray. Any questions or comments?
Motion.
Motion from Mr. Hostetler.
Second.
Second from Mr. Wallace. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Let the record reflect that on 8/10 submitted by our county clerk fees in the amount of $206,519.02 were submitted. And that leads us to where we're going to step in and ask Chris Runyon and Natalie to introduce Sadie.
Good evening, Judge, Magistrates. So we've recently acquired Sadie to be our emotional support dog for our folks, and we wanted to introduce her to you guys. She's 4.5 months old right now. She weighs 17 pounds. She went to the vet today and got a round of shots, so she's not too active. She's pretty sleepy. But she'll be staying at our station at Lexus Way during business hours, but then she'll go home with either myself or Natalie in the evenings, and we'll be her certified handlers. So she'll be available to our crews, and during the day, and then just a phone call. We'll respond with her. So.
Well, welcome to Sadie to the.
What's the salary?
A lot of treats.
And is that, you have a full staff now?
You haven't looked at the agenda.
Are we fully staffed on dogs?
We are. Check that out.
And we may need her here sometime, so we may reach out and tell you to bring her.
Physical court might need to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the introduction, and Sadie's awful cute, and I'm sure that staff will enjoy having Sadie around.
Yeah, there's a lot of studies out there that say they're just amazing for first responders. So,
Well,
thank you
very much. Thank you. With that said, I'm going to ask Elizabeth, our new executive director at the library, to just present the library board tax rates, and then also share some data and some information from our library. And we appreciate the job you all do and what you all do for our community, and welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you. So the library board did vote to accept the compensating rate, so no change from the tax rate from last year. That should be in your packet that Stacy had if you do have any questions on that. And then as far as the other documentation that I have, so it's called a Roadmap of Progress and Possibility. So we do have our past figures last year from some of our top visits, top performers. And then also some of the initiatives we're starting now. So actually, one thing we're going to try to do is what we call mobile libraries. And these would be libraries that basically are mobile. We put them in a truck, trailer, take them to a location, unload them, provide all the same services we have at our current facility, and then pack it up the next day and take it to the next location. And so the idea is to take those to Stamping Ground in Sadieville, where there's less service already in that area. So if you do have any ideas of locations that we could go into, whether a school in that area has a room, one of the EMS might have a training room that we could use, we'd be happy to meet with anybody that might have a space that we could utilize for those. Another thing we're also doing is we're trying to do more partnerships with the schools. We've met with one of the school board representatives on possibly getting every student in Scott County a library account. Even if their parent has not come into the building, they will have an account. And then that way, when the bookmobile goes to the schools, they can check out books and they're not restricted, because that seems to be the biggest problem right now that we're finding. And then, so that's what we're working on in the present, and then in the future, we're also doing some space audits that we call, where we're reviewing our space, trying to figure out what we can do to utilize for new technology, new initiatives, so that's something that would be more long-term down the road. Any questions?
Any questions or comments? And just to make sure, the fiscal court is not approving this, we're just acknowledging receipt. That real property would be .044, and then on tangible and personal property, that rate would be .0487. I think that's all I need to share. Any questions? Rick?
Really just a comment, maybe a question as well. On the vans, you say your bookmobile, you're already doing that, right?
Yes, sir. The
So-
bookmobile is already going to Stadieville, Stamping Ground, the schools, daycares. But with the mobile libraries, it provides more access because we would also unload computers, printers, fax machines. Basically, every service we have at our main location would be at this mobile site that's not already on the bookmobile.
Well, so like this the little 3x5 or whatever it is, 6x6, you're looking for satellite locations, so that's above and beyond driving the van up there.
Yes, that's what be the truck and trailer. We're going to buy a truck and a trailer, load everything into the trailer, take it to those sites, unload it out of the trailer, set it up for that day. It would be a one-day location. Then pop it, put it back up, go to the next location the next day, and then repeat it the following week. So basically, one day a week, Sadieville would have a location, one day a week, Stamping Ground would have a location, and then we would continue to offer it outside wherever we could get locations.
So I see Mayor Halsey's shaking her head, so you're already aware of.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Great, well, thank you.
You know, at one time, we had this thing at the grocery store in Stamping Ground, and it had the full book, you know.
The lockers?
Yes.
Yes, we still have
that-
those. So if somebody requests the book, we can go put it in the locker and they
Okay.
can go pick it up. But again, the idea of the mobile library is to have even more services. Again, the lockers aren't providing computers, faxes, notary. Everything that we have at the main branch would be at the satellite location for that day.
Elizabeth, when you're identifying the areas, and I'm sitting here thinking about some of the lower socioeconomic areas, you know, that they won't have a chance to go possibly have somebody take them to the library. Is that kind of some of the areas that you're focusing on? Or, I mean, I know that you're all looking at the cities, but like for what's coming top of my head is like the Lyle Road Trailer Complex.
That is actually on our list. There is a church there. And so if we can get into the church, that might be the third stop and the fourth stop. So we were hoping to have a stop every day out of the week that we hit, and then the next week we repeat it again. But like I said, right now, we're just looking at Stadieville, Stamping Ground to start with, because the bookmobiles kind of go into some of those other areas for at the moment, so.
Chris Runyon, Master Jones just asked, you know, the parking lot kind of where we have allowed the farmer's market to set up at EMS, would that serve as a possible site in Stamping Ground? Sure. So if you want to reach out to Chris at EMS and kind of coordinate that.
I'd be happy
Very
to.
visible, right there on the road, easy access with additional parking.
By the school.
Yeah.
That'd be
So,
great.
We'd even have the school parking lot as well. I mean, it could be.
yeah,
Well, we used to get asked Dwayne, but
not anymore.
Perfect. Thank you so much for helping us with that
No,
initiative.
no,
Thank you.
appreciate your time. Thank you very, very much. So with that said, next item, Health Board, tax rates to acknowledge receipt.
Sorry, Jared is the rep for that.
Jared, do you want to make any comment there? You want me to just read the 0.044 and for real property and 0.044 for tangible personal property? And then we will move on to the Extension Board tax rates, and I can share that. Last year's rate, 0.0161. This year's rate that was adopted was 0.0149, so that is a reduction. And then personal property, last year's was 0.0285. This year's is 0.0281, which is a reduction as well. With that said, any questions on that, and acknowledge the receipt on the Extension Board. So we'll go now to county tax rates. And yes, I know that's hard to read, but that's the spreadsheet that we've shared 800 times, and just want to go over the presentation one more time. But I do want to kind of, going back to 2020, our rate on real estate in 2020 was 0.062. In 21, 0.062. In 22, we dropped the rate, reduced the rate to 0.0600. 23, we have reduced the rate to 0.0570. And 24, last year's rate was 0.0552. This year's rate that is proposed and that we've discussed would be a reduction to 0.0528. And that would be on real estate. The proposed rate on personal property would be 0.0511. So, I think this demonstrates that the court, realizing that assessments have gone up over time, and our PVA follows a formula from the state, and assessments are followed and done through the PVA office, and they follow those guidelines from the state. But I think our reduction of the rate it represents we're trying to be the best stewards of tax dollars that we can be, and trying to not put additional burden on our citizens and taxpayers. And the big thing is we exist to provide services. And we are blessed. I think I've shared this. 55% of our budget is from OLT and net profits. This property tax represents approximately 6% of your budget. So, you go back to 1979, House Bill 44 set up that fiscal court can set a rate at any whatever we want, but if you choose to go above from year to year, if you choose to go above a 4% growth in overall revenue from the previous year, then that is subject to recall. And we have lowered the rate to stay below that threshold, and we've continued to be able to provide the services we need, and that. But we've been blessed. I want to emphasize we have been blessed. OLT and net profits that revenue has increased, and that's allowed us to do what we've done with property tax rates. I do want to go to the next slide. Looking at across the state, from what we gather, we are the sixth lowest last year in 24. This is 24. So we're the sixth lowest, and a couple of those counties below us have fire taxing districts. So that's not included in that consideration, I think that, our general fund funds our fire. So I'd like to go there to the next slide, looking at neighboring counties. Franklin County, real estate 18.4, Owen 12.2, Harrison 10.3, Bourbon 8.4, Fayette 7.6, Woodford 6.3, Scott 5.52, and of course we're going to this year to 0528. So you look, at neighboring counties, and I believe the services that we provide in the property tax rate, that the return on investment, we're serving our community very well. Next slide. You just some additional comparisons across the state, looking at Pulaski and Laurel being below us slightly. I will say that they do have, I think Pulaski has a fire taxing district for sure. But looking at Madison at their rate, 6.8, Oldham right outside of Jefferson County, 8.7, Bullitt right outside of Jefferson at 9.1, Northern Kentucky, Boone County 9.2, Shelby 9.6, and then Jessamine at 11, and then Franklin at 18.4. So, if we're looking, comparing ourselves to other counties across the state, I think our citizens are getting good services for the property tax rate that they're paying. And then I think I've got another slide, and this is from our PVA, just kind of showing you in 2024, and this is excluding city taxes, based on a $100,000 home. And if you got a $300,000 home, just multiply that number by 3. But your total tax bill in 2024 was going to be $899.30, and 70% of that is $629 goes to our schools. 12% of that goes to state government at $109. We come in strong at 6% of that total figure, $55. $55 total dollars comes to county government. And then from that, public library at 46 or 5%, it's a little bit less, $44 for the health department, and then our ag extension 2% at $16.10. So just showing you what county government, the return on investment that our community gets, and where those dollars go. Would ask you to show the next slide, and this is comparing, these overall taxes to other neighboring counties, including school tax, health department, ag extension, et cetera. Franklin County, you're paying $1,207 on a $100,000 house. Jessamine County, $1,152. Fayette, $1,083. Woodford, $1,010. Clark County, $984, and Scott County in 2024, $899.30. And the source of this information is from our Scott County PVA, John Burke. I appreciate him always putting this together, and I think it's very valuable to share with our community. So, any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
So I'm glad to see that we're able to do this, continue to lower our rate. I know our state legislature several sessions ago are working on eliminating payroll taxes that they've been decreasing. I don't know where we're at in what the next trigger is, but I think that's coming up, which I think is a good thing. And then I just heard this recently. I don't think I heard it wrong, but I believe it's Florida. They're looking at a way to eliminate property tax. And I'm interested in hearing what that idea is. I just heard that last night or the night before. They just appointed a new lieutenant governor. It's not an election year, but I don't know I didn't hear what happened to the previous lieutenant governor, or maybe you got appointed to something, I don't know. But I heard the new lieutenant governor talking a little bit about that. So I don't know what that looks like, but I'd be interested in seeing that.
One conversation that I've had with Senator Nunn, and this was brought up previously, there's always the concern about individuals that are on fixed income and your property tax rate going up, your assessment going up, more specifically here in Scott County, not specifically the rate, but the assessment going up and that impacting folks on a fixed income. And I've talked, is there any way that we could put something in that that would freeze that, essentially hold it? That was brought up in last year's session. I think that's something that's going to come back up in future sessions along those lines that you're talking about.
Right.
So any other questions or comments?
Well, just one more. I mean, and we all know this, because of property taxes, you never really own your property. You may have it all paid off, but if you don't pay that tax bill, the government's coming to collect that. I mean, you see it right here in our county. They sell the taxes on the courthouse steps, what the old term is, if people don't pay them. So, which means, in my mind, you never really own your property. So hopefully, I don't know what this lieutenant governor was alluding to, but I'm kind of anxious to read a little more, hear more.
Any other comments? Well, the recommended rate, as I said, is 0.0528 on real estate, and on personal property, 0.0511. Do we need to do those together, or can we do those together, or do we need to do them separately?
Those two together and then this one separate.
Okay. Got to get my glasses out, Stacy. Would there be a motion? Motion.
Second.
Second from Mr. Jones. Is property and personal property, real estate and personal property. So we have a motion. We have a second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. And then, Stacy, this is the motor vehicle tax rate, and that is 16.6 per 100 assessed value. Any questions or comments on that? Would there?
I'll make a motion.
All
I
right.
think that's been the rate for a long time.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Appreciate your all's work and appreciate Michelle's work as well. Always have good data and appreciate that very, very much. With that said, then, ordinance 2502, second reading. I will ask Cam to read the ordinance. Then I will open it up for any public comment, and then we'll take comment from any magistrate going from there. Does that sound like a plan? Cam, would you read the?
Yes, sir. Scott County Fiscal Court Ordinance Number 2502, an ordinance relating to street legal special purpose vehicles. Whereas KRS 186.077 and KRS 186.078, which became effective on June 27, 2025, allow for the operation of street legal special purpose vehicles on certain highways within the Commonwealth of Kentucky if allowed by ordinance of the local government within whose jurisdictional boundaries the highway is located. And whereas the Scott County Fiscal Court has determined that it is appropriate to allow the operation of street legal special purpose vehicles on specified highways within the jurisdictional boundaries of Scott County in accordance with the Act and this ordinance. Now therefore be it hereby ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Scott, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, Definitions. The definitions set forth in KRS 186.077 and as may be amended in the future by the Kentucky General Assembly are adopted and incorporated by reference as if set forth fully herein. Highway is defined in KRS 186.010. It means every way or place of whatever nature when any part of it is open to the use of the public as a matter of right, license, or privilege for the purpose of vehicular traffic. Section 2, Designated Highways. Street legal special purpose vehicles shall be allowed to the extent permitted by the Act on all publicly maintained highways that are located within the jurisdictional limits of Scott County, except as described herein. Section 3, exceptions. Street legal special purpose vehicles shall not be allowed to operate, A, on any highway or portion thereof located within the jurisdictional limits of the city of Georgetown, Kentucky, unless otherwise allowed by ordinance of the city of Georgetown. B, on any highway or portion thereof located within the jurisdictional limits of the city of Stamping Ground, Kentucky, unless otherwise allowed by ordinance of the city of Stamping Ground. C, on any highway or portion thereof located within the jurisdictional limits of the city of Sadieville, Kentucky, unless otherwise allowed by ordinance of the city of Sadieville. D, on any highway or portion thereof that is a controlled access system, including but not limited to an interstate or parkway. Or E, on any highway or portion thereof where the United States Department of Agriculture prohibits special purpose vehicles. Section 4, prohibitions. A, street legal special purpose vehicles are prohibited from traveling a distance greater than 20 miles on a highway displaying centerline pavement markings. B, many trucks shall not be operated as street legal special purpose vehicles on a highway that has been constructed pursuant to a federal highway program. Section 5, operators of street legal special purpose vehicles shall comply with all provisions of KRS 186.077 and all other applicable provisions of the Kentucky Revised Statutes. Section 6, street legal special purpose vehicles may only be operated on a highway by individuals possessing a valid operator's license. Section 7, effective date. This ordinance shall be effective on passage and publication. The first reading was approved on August 8th, 2025. The second reading is today, August 28th, 2025.
With that said, if there would be any public comment, I'd ask that you limit your comments to approximately 4 minutes, and be happy to hear from anyone. Any comment from anyone here with our fiscal court?
I'd like to say something. That's no problem.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just share, Mr. Smith, you just share your name again so everybody
Mark
knows.
Smith, live here in the county. Kind of unrelated, y'all, as a business owner, resident of the county, really appreciate the fiscal responsibility of this board. That was great data, and y'all are awesome for that. Thank you. Also recognize this particular issue is not life and death, so love all y'all either way, no matter how you vote on this one. What I do want to say is I've said to you guys in the past as we've talked about this particular issue is not personally that relevant to me in that I don't plan to do this. It impacts me because it impacts our customers, and they're pretty passionate about it. And so as I think about like the argument for and against, really the argument for is I want to do this, and the state said I could. And that's compelling to me in its own right? The state enabled it, set the path. I understand you guys have to approve it for the county. The argument against, as I've heard it, is mostly this seems weird to me and I don't like it, which to me is not particularly compelling. And I've heard the argument that, hey, this was intended for the mountain counties. True. That's where it originated, but it was enabled for the entire state. So it's kind of like saying taxation with representation was only for Boston, right? Because that's where it originated. Or my machine, I don't feel comfortable with it. Well, okay. But maybe that's not representative of other situations. So to me, it's relevant in that we have rights, right, and freedoms. And so to me, it's a heavy burden to potentially say no to someone, even if you don't like it. So a quick example, my daily driver is a 2004 Lexus. I talked to Kim Marshall out over the course of like 5 years. It took me forever. I love it. It's a great car. But it's 22 years old, right? Does that make sense? To a 2004 is 22 years old. So compared to a modern car, it ain't that great. It ain't that safe. It doesn't have a lot of stuff that other folks have. Tonight, though, I drove my dad's car. It's legally my car, but it was his. And it's 50 years older than that car. So it's 72 years old. Let me tell you what else it don't have. It don't have ABS, disc brakes, doesn't have power steering, doesn't have power brakes. It has a 3-speed on the column. How many of y'all could drive that? God bless you that can. You're a dying breed, right? It's a cool old car. It's here. If anyone wants to see it, y'all follow me down.
Can I drive it tonight?
Yes, Rick, you can. But that old car is street legal in all 50 states. Now, I don't drive it very often because, to be honest, there's no air conditioning, the heat don't work, the radio don't work, the wipers barely work. But I want to, and I get that a lot of people wouldn't understand that, right? The same way some of you may own a gun and someone else would like to take that right from you. Some of you attend services at a local church. There are folks who would say you shouldn't be allowed to do that. Some of you like to eat meat. Some of you like to hunt or fish. And there are folks in our society that would say you shouldn't be allowed to do that. So even though this personally doesn't excite me, to me it's a heavy load to say, no, you can't do that just because I don't like it or it's not appealing to me. I promise these folks here tonight that want to do this, Dwayne over here wants to ride his granddaughters up to the Love's truck stop, to get a pop. That machine he owns is way safer than my 72-year-old Bel Air. It ain't as cool, but it's probably safer. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other person like to address the court?
Good evening. My name is Dwayne Power. I recognize some of you that are sitting up here before me tonight. Like Mark was saying, a lot of the arguments and complaints that I've heard talking to various people about this ordinance is they say they're not safe. I own a 2023 Kawasaki Mule. The top speed on it's 45 miles an hour. Would I ever get into that thing and drive it to Georgetown? Absolutely not. I wouldn't even want to take it on US 25 because I would get run over. But like what he said, I do enjoy getting in it, riding down Frogtown Road, around the Porter, going to the truck stop, getting a milkshake, and driving it back home. That side-by-side that I have has windshield, radial tires, lights, whole 9 yards. And from a safety standpoint, that machine is safer than any motorcycle that's on the road. If you go around the corner and hit a deer on a motorcycle, I don't care if it's a Harley, crotch rocket, anything, you're gonna be hurting. I hit a deer in my side-by-side, and I'm gonna do more damage to the deer than I am my side-by-side or even me in most cases. Also, I think you're missing out. I know it's not gonna be a huge tax revenue, because not everybody's gonna do it. A lot of the farmers aren't gonna do it, because they just throw a triangle on the back of them and they go on anyway. And that's what you see the majority of the time out in rural areas, are the farmers with the triangles on the back, and they just roll on. I've got a triangle on the back of mine. I was instructed to put a triangle on the back of mine by a state trooper that stopped me on the road one day. He said, you need to have a triangle if you're going to ride down the road. I said, okay, no problem. So I threw a triangle on the back of it, and I've never been bothered again. But if this was to pass, I would pay the taxes and get the plate for mine. And that's revenue that you could potentially get, even though there's not going to be a huge opportunity to pull revenue from it, but there is the opportunity. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Questions or any other comments?
Make one real quick. Name's Cody Meadows. I am on the Stamping Ground City Commission down there. I'm not here to represent them, but we are drafting an ordinance. Just want to make it clear that for y'all to know that it is legal to drive a golf cart in Stamping Ground. So I don't know how this is much different. It is our own ordinances that we have adopted. But, going forward, I can't say that we'll pass it or we'll accept it, but we have golf carts in Stamping Ground. They drive up and down the road every day, and it's legal. So, kind of the way that it was wrote is nowhere in Stamping Ground can you get above 35 miles an hour in the city limits. So that's kind of what the golf cart rule came about. But that's all I have to say. I just wanted to make that note.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments from any court member?
You can. So,
Rick Hostetler.
thanks, Judge. I can't say much more than it's already been said, but to echo it, like I think Mr. Powers said, that he put the triangle on there. And, we had this discussion when we had our first reading, and Cam brought something up that I knew about, but I never really thought about. And it goes to what Mr. Powers is saying. I could take a four-wheeler and come from my house with a triangle on it. It doesn't have to be much of one. I live on a farm. I have farming activities. I've driven a tractor with a set of cutting hairs right down Main Street. many times years ago. That can't be stopped. And so, but with this issue, what I like about it is the people, I can't speak for anybody that's just spoken, but in my world, I would be more apt to do something because I'm going to go get it inspected, certified, pay the insurance, the tags, the taxes, all of those kind of things. And I think most people that have these kind of vehicles, then they say, because they're following those guidelines, they'll feel and be much safer on the highway. But I can do it anyhow. But I would rather this route. And, you know, I saw one of these vehicles just today. It's amazing how they keep popping up. Just today in Fayette County on US 25. I don't think they just came off of New Circle Road, but I'm not. They were right there. What's that?
I said running from the police.
No, they were just sitting at a stoplight right off of New Circle Road. They could have came. Either if they didn't come off of New Circle Road, they came from downtown. They were coming north on 25. Had a kid in the back of it in a car seat. True story. I couldn't get my phone out quick enough, or I'd show you a picture. But I don't think they have. I don't think they've passed any kind of an ordinance in Fayette County, but I don't know. Anyhow, that's, you know, it's not infringing on anybody else's rights. If you don't like them or whatever, don't buy one. But we, in my view, voting against this is infringing on people's right to pursue happiness. It's in our, you know, that's part of our Declaration of Independence, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The rewards of your labors. Maybe somebody wants to spend $50,000 because I think they got air conditioning, heat, power steering, the works. And so I probably wouldn't go that route, but I might. Anyhow, that's my comment.
Judge, I want to echo Rick and Mr. Smith's sentiments too. I think we're taking away the rights of our citizens because the state has passed it. So why should we not pass it? The state says it's okay. I think we should look at it as saying it's okay too, you know. People do have rights to drive these, just like they have the right to drive the motorcycles, the little scooters on the road. And I feel like these machines are a lot safer than any motorcycle or any scooter you're ever going to see on the road. I've made the statement before about people driving down the road with their leg hanging out of their Jeep. This is the same thing. I mean, I think we should pass this ordinance just because of the rights of the people. I'm not worried about the taxes. It's not going to bring in that money. There's no money. But let's don't take those rights away because I've been all over the county in the last 2 weeks working. I didn't think I had to work as much anymore, but and I've talked to a lot of people from the eastern side, western side, northern side. Everybody's asking, is this going to pass or not? I'm like, I don't know. We'll just have to see when we come to the court. You know, everybody has a choice to make. So
Any
I'm
other?
for it.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead. Well, I was just going to.
David Livingston.
Representative Grossell and I have talked about this before. We have to be very careful in just saying, well, if the state passed it, we should pass it because we're home rule. We want local control. And the last thing we ever want to do is to give the appearance that, oh, if it comes from the state, then it's okay. Then at that point, you might as well get rid of local government and just be ruled from Frankfurt. So just because the state passes it doesn't make it okay. It is, and that's a slippery slope to go down. The other thing, too, is I've had maybe 9 or 10 people contact me, 2 of them for it. The rest of them are in my district that's in the city and said, please don't pass it. We don't want the city to pass it. And I think that the city could be waiting to see what we do.
The city is.
They've not taken it up. Is that correct? They haven't passed it. They haven't. I mean, you don't even have to take it up. You can just die for lack of a motion. But I've had more comments and calls from within the city than I have from anybody reaching out in the county limits. So, but local control is extremely important, and we've talked about that extensively. And what Frankfurt does that pushes down on us. And I mean, you know, I agree with the rights of people, but I sit and watch planning and zoning, and we make decisions up here with property that we take away the rights of people every day with how we set property on planning and zoning and doing things like that. So I've surprised how few calls I have received. And they weren't calls. Most of them were like Facebook messages or, you know, text messages or something like that.
Kelly Corman.
So, like you, I think I've talked to about 12 people, and I've actually had 2 people as well that were for it, and the rest were against it. But I did have an interesting call a couple days ago. A constituent, she called me. She lives out in the county, and she was asking if, you know, what we thought about this, and we were talking about it, and she said, you know, our roads are pretty busy now, and I don't think this is going to increase a lot of traffic, but if neighboring counties that don't pass this, will our county roads then become the trails for these guys that have ATVs maybe in Lexington? And I said, you know, I don't know. That's a good question. You know, they come over and park at our park and ride up and down the roads because they don't want to travel somewhere, they'll come to Scott County. She said that, you know, if enough counties do that, that could potentially be more traffic on our back roads that we don't want. That was her comment.
Yeah, and that could work in reverse too, and that was going to be my next point is, what if Harrison, what if Bourbon, Grant, Owen, the ones that surround us out in, that are really rural counties, what if they pass it? They have a farm in Scott County also, but they're just jump on their little machine and drive it over without the farm tags on it.
Only needs a triangle.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I say, with the state passes it opens it up for everybody in the state. This county here passed, this county here passed, and we don't. I don't know.
So like I shared with you today,
Yeah.
my stance is the original intent of the bill by Senator Storm was to assist rural counties, mainly in eastern Kentucky, but also in western Kentucky, that have extensive trail systems to allow for maximizing tourism in those areas. He has said that's why we've passed this. And they intentionally did not want to blanket pass it across the state, and that's why they put the opt-in clause so counties could decide, is this appropriate for your community or not? So my stance is, at this point, our community does not have public or private extensive trail systems that allowing for these to be able to operate on county roads would be a benefit. That's my I voted no the last time, and that's why I feel that I will stick with a no vote this time, because the intent was the purpose of that was to assist in tourism in those communities where there's trail systems. That doesn't exist here now. If that changes, then my opinion might change if that changes. But just being real with everyone here and anyone listening, that's why I feel the way I do, and be happy to answer any questions or open it up for any additional comments for anyone else.
I know you say that the intent was, but is that the way the bill actually got passed? Is that you have to have trail systems or not?
No,
Well, you can't do that. I mean, you can't do targeted legislation. If it's statewide, it has to be statewide. You can't just say in these counties.
That have trails, so it is. I understand the intent, but I just want to make sure the bill did get passed.
Rob, I'm telling you why I feel. I respect 1,000 times over what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I respect what you're saying, respect what Rick's saying, respect 1,000 times anybody's feelings. I'm sharing why my stance is what my stance is, and I feel like the bill was passed. That was the purpose, to promote tourism and allow people to go fill up gas, go get groceries, go to a hotel, go to a campground, and it promoted tourism in those areas. And the bill sponsor plainly, played that recording at the last meeting. The bill sponsor said that's why we did this. And then they also said that they wanted to give counties the ability to opt in or opt out. If we get trails or have options, then in my I can only speak for myself, then my opinion might change. Any other questions or comments?
Just one more thing to think about. David mentioned it, that you'd had like 12 calls, most of them from your district, which is in Georgetown. So let's just not think about Georgetown. Let's think about the whole county. Because like my district is all rural. Rick's district, pretty much rural. You got a lot of rural. You got a lot of rural. Those guys want to ride these things out there. And the people I've talked to, they want to ride them. They're going to ride them. They have to slap a farm thing on it. They're going to ride them one way or another. So I think we could do better if we try to police it a little bit and keep them under control a little bit.
But I will say, Rob, I'm all city.
Yeah.
And I have to represent the people that vote for me. And so if I just ignore the district, and I've had one call that's for it and the rest are against, and they're all in my district, the only person I've had call is obviously outside.
Which I can understand. The folks
So-
in Georgetown could be against it because
Yeah.
they don't want to see them all over Georgetown.
Right.
But out in the county where we live, and you're going to see them. They're there now. You're going to see
But
them.
I can't ignore my
Yeah.
constituents though.
Yeah. Oh, I understand.
You know-
And I can't mine either.
Right.
And that's why I'm asking.
And-
Just think about those guys out in the county.
You're right.
But
Right.
Well, it still goes to that triangle, ride them right through town. So no matter what your constituents think, it can still happen. And that kind of goes to the statement that Mr. Smith made one of the last times he presented. When 51% of the people figure out they can overrule the 49, that's what they're going to do. And that's one of these kind of issues. It's about your choice. And so that's where it's at for me. So I'll make a motion, Judge, for this ordinance for approval.
For approval.
Yes, sir.
Second. So we have a motion and we have a second. Are there any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make another comment if I could. If that's okay, if I'm allowed to.
Mr. Bauer, you're certainly, absolutely. I'll give you that courtesy.
I would like to make a reference to a comment that was made about if surrounding counties did it or didn't do it and then Scott County did do it, would people be coming in? If you're going to make that argument, you have to look at areas like in Tennessee of the Dragon. Yeah, it draws unlimited amount of people coming in to run that stretch of the road on their motorcycles and their sports cars. But it also brings revenue. People stop at the gas stations. They stop at the restaurants. So yeah, people might come in here. They might ride in the northern part of the county, but they're going to bring revenue into the city of Sadieville. They're going to bring revenue into Stamping Ground when they stop at the gas stations. So it's going to bring money in that way also. As far as like what you said with the farm tag, here's my question. He's right, that's legal. But if I brought my side-by-side to Georgetown and I rode it down Main Street, how many times am I going to get stopped? If he's on his tractor, he's not going to get stopped. But if I ride my side-by-side down Main Street, I guarantee you I'm going to get pulled over if I pass a city police officer. But technically it is legal because it's a piece of farm equipment and it has a triangle on the back of it. So there is the argument that can be made, and I understand people in the city not wanting them. I can get that. But from the same side of it, like Stamping Ground, they're letting the golf carts go. In Canewood, they don't tell me how many times I've gone into Canewood and see a 12-year-old kid driving a golf cart down the road. And they shouldn't be, in my opinion. But it happens. So I feel like you're better off putting something in play to govern it. Putting something in play to put the restrictions in place. The subdivision where I live, there's 22 lots. They're all 5-acre lots. there's 8 sport utility vehicles owners in that subdivision. We ride them everywhere. We go on trips. You know, we get up 4 or 5 of us up and we ride Scott County, Owen County. You know, we do it quite often actually. But they're going to be ridden anyway. In my opinion, you're better off passing an ordinance to where you can control it.
Thank you, and please know, respect your opinion, and thank you for coming tonight.
One more comment to that. Just dawned on me. In this ordinance, it's a 20-mile. There's a limit. With the triangle, there's no limit. You run all over Scott County, run on over into Harrison County. They can't stop you there either. With that triangle on there.
Now, the ordinance would not stop the triangle regardless, though, right? I mean, you're always going to have that no matter what.
But I doubt he'd put a triangle on there if he could license it, insure it.
Right, but anybody can,
But then
if
the
they've got a triangle, they
ordinance,
can.
the ordinance
need
would
the ordinance.
correct, but the ordinance, like he said, would restrict them to 20 miles.
And which way?
I'm
Round
assuming
trip?
that's,
Round trip or one way? or-
well, that's not defined, so
Yeah.
that'd be something to ask Cam. I would assume you could go 20 miles out,
Statute
20
doesn't
miles
define it
back.
either, so.
But what's that?
I said the statute doesn't define
Right.
it either.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that
Yeah, it
last
just
time.
says what the statute, what the KRS
Yeah.
says.
So,
Any other comment from a magistrate? Questions? Ms. Hamilton, I'd like to ask for a roll call vote.
Yes means in favor of.
Yes means in favor of passage of the, of ordinance 2502.
Mr. Hostetler?
yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
No.
Mr. Corman?
No.
Mr. Ellison?
No.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes.
Mr. Livingston?
No.
Judge Covington?
No. Please know, respect everybody's opinion that came here. Appreciate you coming here and voicing your opinion. If you have any questions, always are willing to answer. That said,
Surgery right now.
EMS new hire.
Judge, I'm gonna step out.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very pleased to recommend on behalf of Chris Running and Natalie Guerrero, there we have 5 new hires. 3 will be full-time and 2 part-time. The 2 paramedics I'm recommending, both came to us by employee referral, so I'm very pleased with the fact that we had employees help us identify these individuals. The first is Madeline Kincaid. She'll be starting with us on September the 8th at $19.45 an hour. As you can see from the information I gave you, she has a wealth of experience, both educationally and in the field. So we're very pleased to have her join our team. The second paramedic is Teb Jagger. Like I said, also an employee referral. He'll be starting with us in a few weeks, effective September 29th at $19.45 an hour. However, he will be starting with us on a part-time basis starting on September the 8th until he can convert to full-time. And the third one that's starting with us on a full-time basis is Patrick Boykin. He'll be joining us as an EMT. He'll start on September the 2nd, and we'll start at $14.56 an hour. Then we have 2 additional part-time people, Emily Mather and Chris Perry. Both will start on September the 2nd at $12.77 an hour. So I present that recommendation to you for approval.
Questions or comments?
Motion.
Motion to approve, second by Dwayne Ellison. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Road Department new hire.
Yes. You may recall a couple weeks ago we recommended a candidate for the equipment operator position. Unfortunately, he got a counteroffer from his current workplace, decided to stay there. So that led us to continuing the search. And we are very pleased. Maybe we're going to end up on the good side of things. Bruno Ruvalcaba as an equipment operator. He'll start with us on Tuesday, September 2nd at $25.76 an hour. As you can see, he has more than 20 years of related experience and a lot of landscaping. So I think he's going to bring some skills to our team that we don't have right now. So very pleased that things worked out the way they did. This will put that department back at full staffing.
Motion. Motion.
Second.
Dr. Wallace. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, thank you.
So, item 15, this is the Commonwealth Attorney lease agreement. As I shared by email, there's a slight difference, 164 feet difference in the previous calculation of square footage. My recommendation is to keep the annual lease cost that is proposed at $54,119. This will be paid quarterly at the same rate. We just have to approve the change in the square footage. This would be our county attorney would be Commonwealth attorney would be taking over this effective September 1st, and this is for through 2027, I believe. Is that right?
It's 20.
Or is
Yeah,
it
no,
20?
you're right.
It's 2027. Just to make sure.
Good thing they put it in
Yeah.
4.5.
Yeah, it is 2027. So June 2027.
I mean, look how small
So,
it is. You see it?
I would ask,
Of course, that's.
answer any questions anyone has. I would ask you to consider making a motion to approve that and moving forward with that.
Sure, motion.
Motion and second from Kelly. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Judge, can we pause for just a second? So where the coroner's office and then the SO detective's office, that building is empty currently, is that correct?
That's not included, is it?
That is not included.
Yeah.
That is not included.
What, the detective's office?
The old coroner's office
The
slash
little building next to it.
the detectives moved in. JR and I and Michelle actually walked through that building 2 days ago. And Stacy and I looked at it as well with JR. There was actually a window that needed to be replaced. But talking with JR, I think going along the lines of where you're going, it would be my recommendation that in the near future we consider selling that piece of property. I just, and JR, he's shaking his head affirmative. I just think that that disposing of that and looking at the proceeds, using proceeds on another project would be positive. It would fit for a nice, small downtown business, in my opinion. So, was that where you?
All I was going to ask is what the status was, and that's something maybe we can discuss going forward. I'm not saying anything tonight. I'm just saying where we're at.
There's some items that still need to be removed from that, but
Yeah.
I think it would be in our best interest to consider putting it out for sealed bids. I think, and I'm going to ask Cam, could we put a minimum on it?
Yeah.
And would that be what you all think?
Yeah, we'd have to vote the surplus at first, and then we would accept proposals, and then we would set up, there would be a minimum type of bid.
I would be nervous. I mean, we're growing. Scott County's only growing. Our services are going to grow. There's not a whole lot more room left in this building. I'd be a little nervous getting rid of property downtown that's close here if we have potential services in the future that could, I don't know what department, we don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years, but right now we have a building that we could use for.
You don't want that building.
Yeah, but
The building's awkward in its use, though. It's
small.
It's
I
always
would
going to be
invite
tough.
you to come down, and JR and I will walk you through, and
I think it'd be
But
tough
don't-
to use.
Yeah, don't forget, we're getting ready, in about a year, we're going to have the Justice Center, and that's lots of square footage.
New
that
fire
will be-
station.
Yeah.
and Ryan, not discounting what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you can never build for cheaper than what you
no,
have.
you never.
know. I
but-
get that.
But there would be a
The
considerable
practical
amount of
use of
cost
that place, though,
to get it
It'd be better for business.
to address some issues I think the building needs to be addressed with. So before we make any motion, before we move forward, it might be a good idea that we have, all of you have a chance to walk through it and put your eyes on it. So,
I want to make one correction from the Commonwealth Attorney lease. It is 2026.
Yeah, it's 26, and then it looks like it automatically renews for 1
Okay.
year to be, yeah.
Hey, Judge, the sheriff's
Yeah.
department sign is still down there too. Are we gonna?
so JR and I talked about that. JR, who did you say you were going to call about trying to see if we could get just the panel for the address put in instead of the, we were going to call somebody.
Was you talking about putting aluminum in there, just
covering it up with the So taking that panel off and just putting a panel.
Yeah, I went by it the other day. I thought, well, that could be awkward.
We talked about that
in the sheriff's office now.
We talked about that as well. And I asked Commonwealth Attorney Kelly Kearney if she wanted if they would want to put a sign up themselves, and she did not desire to do that.
All may agree with
Thank you, Jr. That leads us to Resolution 2514, U.S. EPA GMWSS federal grant funding. And here's the reality and why we're requesting this. GMWSS is administering this grant to try to address sewer capacity issues in northern Scott County. But it is very tedious answering all the inquiries from the EPA, and then quite often the GMWSS has to say, well, we're not Scott County, we are GMWSS, we're administering this for the county, and it's just very tedious. So by doing this resolution, we can share this with the EPA, and hopefully it'll streamline some of the required paperwork and such. With that said, Cam, if you'd read the resolution, and I'll try to answer any questions from that anyone has.
Yes, sir. Scott County Fiscal Court Resolution 2514. A resolution authorizing Georgetown Municipal Water and Sewer Service to act as an agent for the Scott County Fiscal Court regarding Community Projects Fund grant funding for sewer improvements to northern Scott County. Whereas on March 14, 2023, the Scott County Fiscal Court adopted Resolution 2307 authorizing the Judge Executive to apply for Community Project Funding, or CPF, grant funds through the office of Congressman Andy Barr, and to execute any documents necessary to receive and administer CPF pursuant to the grant. Whereas the funds will be used for planning, assessment, and design of sanitary sewer infrastructure which will serve northern Scott County. And whereas pursuant to the grant application in 2024, $1,750,000 in federal funding from the fiscal year 2024 community project funding process was awarded to the fiscal court to improve the sanitary sewer capacity in northern Scott County. Specifically, these funds will be used for pre-construction costs related to sewer improvements in northern Scott County, including but not limited to planning, survey, design, and permitting the project. And whereas said funds are administered by the United States Environmental Protection Agency, or US EPA, and Georgetown Municipal Water and Sewer Service, GMWSS, is managing and executing the project on behalf of the fiscal court. And whereas the successful planning, coordination, administration, and implementation of the project requires the designation of a qualified agent and representative to act on behalf of the fiscal court in all necessary capacities. And whereas GMWSS has the qualifications, experience, and authority to serve in this role for the duration of the project. Now therefore be it resolved by the Scott County Fiscal Court that the Scott County Fiscal Court hereby designates and appoints GMWSS as the official agent and representative of the Scott County Fiscal Court for all matters related to the project. As such, GMWSS shall have full authority to act on behalf of the fiscal court in all official communications and dealings related to the project, sign and submit documents, agreements, forms, and certifications as required, coordinate with contractors, state and federal agencies, consultants, and other stakeholders, and take any and all necessary actions to ensure the proper administration and execution of the project consistent with applicable laws and regulations. Approved this 28th day of August 2025.
Any questions or comments? Would there be a motion? Motion from Ryan Pratt, second from Dwayne Ellison. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. 17, as I shared in by email, had a conversation after trying to get some feedback and update from Mr. Cox with the Isaiah House. He's the COO. He shared that earlier, approximately a month ago, that they had made the decision to pull staffing from the local IOP office, that we had this agreement with them on. And I notified Mr. Cox earlier this week that it was my intent to recommend to you all that we terminate our agreement with the Isaiah House based on my feeling, and I'll ask Cam if he feels the same, but they certainly have breached the contract.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's pretty obvious. So my recommendation is to send them a letter, 30-day notice. That is
yes.
The part that's in the agreement that we have to do. So that's what I'm asking for feedback or a motion from you all on. So questions or comments?
Well, it's the 30-day from now, right? Like,
yeah.
It kind of burns me that they waited 30 days.
And I expressed my disappointment to Mr.
Like
Cox
the clock
as well.
should have been ticking then, but I get it. We got to do it. But that's just.
So we've been paying rent on a building that's been sitting in.
Sounds like it.
And utilities.
For a month. And we wouldn't have been.
We'll put in the notice that we're not doing that anymore, if that's what you all.
Well, I will. I would recommend that really, like, I don't
If
think.
I get a bill tomorrow, I wouldn't pay it.
No, I'm not going. I'm not going to pay it back past July 1, or whatever date it was. I can find out that date, but we would have not known if I had not called asking for an update and getting stats on their status. So,
Are we involved in any way with the lease with the landlord?
No, we are not. We are not a party to
The
that.
agreement is just to reimburse them, but they're the party on the lease.
Perfect.
And we intentionally did that.
I'm just going to make a comment because it is very disappointing because several of us went to their grand opening and we were very active and wanting to help, and just sad that they don't reach out and let us know if they were having problems or were thinking about leaving or something. But anyway, I would make a motion that we, I guess, end our agreement.
I'll say, I'd like to just add that I think it's sad for our community members, because I go to the barbecue restaurant right next door quite often, and there was always people in or around that seemed like they were going in for whatever reason. So, I mean, it's a loss for our community, for those people that were seeking those services. So,
Any other questions or comments? We had a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, work session date, time, and change. We had a plan in place to have a ribbon cutting on the 4th at 4 and a short work session following. The ribbon cutting, our clerk is out and our sheriff is in town, but that is a travel day for our sheriff returning from town. And I think it would not be wise, after learning about the travel schedule, to try to schedule a ribbon cutting and the sheriff potentially being held up. I just think it's so. I'm proposing. I still don't think it's a good idea to have the work session on Friday because of the Festival of the Horse, and then also the sheriff's office is having a fundraiser that day as well. So I would propose moving the ribbon cutting for the sheriff's office clerk's annex to the 8th, which is a Monday at 3:30, and doing the work session still on the 4th at 4, but we can just do it here. Stacy, I was sitting here and I don't think I confirmed that the 4th at 4. I didn't confirm if this room was open, but I think it would be.
I'll make a note to double check.
So
It is now.
what do you? So that I am open for suggestions. I'm just
The 4th,
Thursday.
the roads will be closed at 2 o'clock, just so you know.
Yeah, could we possibly look at just doing it at 9 o'clock, like that's our normal?
At 9 a.m. on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, Friday's usually 9, right?
I have no. Yeah.
I think she's right, I think they Thursday afternoon, they start.
So that makes sense, and I'm open to that.
Like in the chili cook-off will start at 5 p.m. It's not 4, so I think you'll have, I mean, it'll be a mess down here.
So you're saying Thursday morning, 9 works for you?
And the work session, the whole focus of the work session is a presentation from the fire department on our ISO rating. And then we'll probably have a few other items, but it won't be a extensive, long work session. So if we have it 9 a.m., all right. So is that a motion, Kelly?
That's a motion.
Second from
Thursday.
Thursday at 9 a.m. Is that a second, Ryan?
Yeah, second.
All right. So we have a motion, we have a second to have the work session moved to the 4th at 9 a.m. And Kelly Corman. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's just a reminder to me as well that next meeting, we might as well go on and address Thanksgiving and the Christmas meeting that always is required to be moved to. So let's look back and set a time and date for that. And then Halloween, we got to find out what time we're going to have Halloween. Set trick or treat. Ribbon cutting will be on the 8th at 3:30. And what I've shared with the sheriff's department and clerk's office is after that ribbon cutting, it would be great if they had like escorted tours of the building, just staff walk groups of people through, just so people can see the building, and I'm very proud of it. I think it's a great facility. Just wanted to note, pickleball courts are finished and are packed. People are really using it, and
Why didn't we build more?
Yeah. Next item, Drew Beckett. I reached out to Drew about our playground plans at Great Crossing, and he just wanted to confirm, and he wanted to share if the court wanted to consider any other surface other than the wood mulch that we had talked about. Crumb rubber could be an option for about $32,000. Of course, turf is much, much higher. He wanted to share that. It's my job to share information, but I will share that that is not in the budget. We don't have that in the budget. So I'm sharing that he wanted to ask if the court wanted to consider anything else other than wood mulch. And if no one wants to go down that road, then we will go forward with wood mulch. And Dwayne, you tell me if the court in the future wants to change that surface. I mean, there's nothing saying that you can't add turf or crumb rubber.
Whatever the cost is for rubber, just like any wood or rubber, it's going to be a yearly cost still.
Yeah.
Because it's going to, wherever you have your fall zones, you're going to still have.
It's $32,000. Like at the bottom of slides, you're going to have mats, or you're going to have mats or something.
And every year you're going to have to go buy,
Do you put mats still like on wood
Doesn't
mulch.
necessarily meet the code, but yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And Judge, you can pursue that crumb rubber grant opportunities offered by the state every year too.
So I'll tell.
Crumb rubber, gets hot.
I'll tell Drew to proceed with the idea that we're moving forward with wood mulch, and what they're going to do is give us a footprint, and then JR's team, we're going to go down there and we're going to level it out, and then they will install the equipment. The hope is in October. So I shared that. Chili cook-off start. I just wanted to remind everybody, great. It is the 4th, starting at approximately 5:30, 6 o'clock, and just that's a great event. And then Chris shared an email that was a lot of information that I think the court needs to hear some of it right now. And no. Chris shared this email with me. This is the information. So, number one, you and I had conversations about rumblers and dash cams. Possibly, we got some information for that, and I'll share that via email. But the big thing that I wanted to talk about was the adjuster's opinion on the ambulance that was most recently in an accident. Their opinion, is this right? It was less than $50,000. Now, the fourth attachment is a quote from the company that actually does the repair with an estimate of over $150,000. So, in my opinion, when we get the adjuster's official letter, Stacy, help me. Like, if we don't feel like that's accurate, we can appeal an adjuster's.
We would just take it and get a quote, what you've done, and submit it, and they'll.
It's no different than your personal auto.
Yeah.
When you take it, they always find more damage.
Yeah. But that truck is going to have a total new chassis, and can they set it on the frame?
They can. My opinion is what he's just basing his numbers on, what a cab and chassis costs. He's not counting the work to put it together and the wiring and the upfit. And, I mean, there's just a lot more than driving a new chassis under it and setting a box on it. I think he's just priced what that would cost, and I think
The
it's.
same thing with the last ambulance, we took it to Paul Miller, they actually agreed with the adjuster,
Yes,
so
they
it
did.
wasn't a big deal, but if they don't, then
Yeah.
we submit it.
Have we? What's the status of the one that's at Paul Miller as we speak?
So they're waiting on some parts. They think it should be ready in 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. And the other one that we had previously ordered back in the spring should have in
Within 2 weeks is what they
2
told
weeks.
us. One day this week when I talked to them.
So
Within 2
what
weeks.
questions does anyone have? And I just wanted everybody to know where we were on this process. And Chris did get a couple other quotes if you wanted to consider new ambulances. But my opinion is, let's go with trying to get that fixed and seeing where it comes out at. But before we do that, getting the official adjuster's report to share with everybody.
Yeah, and just for your information, the repair work, they said would probably be April of next year before that was finished.
Paul Miller said that?
No, for this one that's wrecked now. We're talking about the adjuster. So the company that gave us the quote for the $156,000, he said that it would be March or April at the earliest.
We'll need one more quote, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Could Paul Miller possibly do the repairs on the most recent one?
I think they could, if they could repair the cab, obviously. I don't think they could put the box on it, the patient compartment onto the chassis. I think that would have to be done by a specialty company.
What questions do you all have?
I have a non-insurance question. Whenever y'all are done talking about it.
No, go
I
ahead.
think something he talked about, and I've always, like, are you all looking at drive cams?
Yes.
I think that we have some new ones now that anytime somebody's distracted, they're not looking at the road, looking at the phone, it automatically sends to supervise, whoever.
Right.
If you run a red light, if you're over the speed limit, if you're, I mean, the AI stuff, and then it
Yeah.
has disciplinary based off.
Sure.
So-
Yeah. The ones we quoted.
The one you quoted was 12,000 and some change.
For the
like,
fleet.
per-
For the fleet.
And like supervisors as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
they will talk to the driver.
Yeah.
So they'll say, put your phone down, put your eyes on the road. It even notices drowsy driving. So if
Yeah.
you're dropping your chin,
Yeah.
and it'll
Help
sound
wake you up.
alarms in the cab.
So,
Yeah.
along those same lines, when we were having this discussion, I asked Sheriff Nettles if any of those vehicles had dash cams, or if any of our fire apparatus had it, and the answer is no. But if that's something that you all want to consider in the future, I think it'd be wise to look at it. None of that is in this year's budget, but certainly would share a quote for EMS if you wanted to consider that.
I 100% think we should. It helps curb distracted driving. It helps curb drowsy driving. It helps. I mean, how many ambulances have we wrecked now in the last year?
That's the pleasure of the court. We will share that quote. We'll need to get another couple quotes probably.
Okay.
And then share that with you all for further discussion and consideration.
And the one I shared, again, I think I mentioned this in the email, but maybe not. So we, last year, budgeted and purchased what's called the HOS device. And it is a kind of a Wi-Fi device that sits on the dash of the ambulances and sends out a signal anytime the lights and siren are activated. And if you are driving a vehicle and you have your GPS maps open, Apple, Google, Waze, it will alert you that an emergency vehicle is approaching or you're approaching an emergency scene. The newer model, 25 and up vehicles, that comes built in, so you don't have to have that app open. It will alert you anyway. But the cameras that we spec or quoted integrate with that system. That's why we got the quote from them. So,
Well, that's an important consideration to add. I appreciate your work on that and Uriah's work as well. And any other questions for Chris?
I'm glad to know that's where that's coming from on my ways. Because a lot of times if I'm going to Lexington or coming back from Lexington and one of our buggies will pop up on my ways and it actually shows it almost as it's moving. It gives its location several different times.
Any other new business from anyone?
Just progress meeting today for Justice Center. Everything seems to be moving right along. I think you're going to see quite a bit of activity over the next 2 to 4 weeks, especially if it stays dry like this. So.
Their goal is to get the floors poured, and
there's a lot of concrete and steel going in there right now.
Yeah, so they're moving. Thank you for that. Any other new business, Mr. Wallace?
Yeah, Rob and I know that some of the magistrates was here at the last planning and zoning meeting, and we stayed till 11 o'clock at night to have a meeting about the RV ordinance. At that time, the planning and zoning had decided they want to have a hearing, but then I don't think that's the next step. They're now going to have it on the agenda for the September meeting. I think that's September 11th. And then we're based on what comes from that meeting. Then maybe in October, they'll have a hearing. And then at that point, there'll be a recommendation, I guess, to the court. But I know that David said it when we started. Yeah, and so I wanted to give you an update of where we're at with the RV ordinance. But if at some point it does not move with the plan and zoning, that Holden has said maybe it needs to come back to the court before it goes to plan and zoning if they continue to delay the issue. And by the way, that delaying means it's been delayed for about 3 months on their end of the Planning and Zoning Commission side. So,
Thank you for that update. A lot of effort has gone in on that. Any other new business? Anyone else do want to recognize State Rep Vanessa Grossel? Recognize Dwayne before the meeting, but thanks for staying and appreciate that very much.
Just one comment.
Yes, sir.
As I've been going around all over, it seems like I've been all over the county. Our roads are phenomenal, if you ask me. And I called JR this morning and complimented him. From the state roads to the county roads, our roads are in great shape. That's from the court, and I really appreciate it. I have to travel roads a lot, so.
And the upkeep of the mowing and keeping the brush back.
Yes.
That task never stops during the summer and spring, and really appreciate the job JR and his team.
His team is doing over at the road. So really
that
appreciate
they
it.
do. So, no, I appreciate it very much. Thanks for that comment. Anything else? Would there be a motion to adjourn? Kelly Corman, second. David Livingston. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We're